welcome, ladies and gentlemen, dear panel. Thank you for being here at the ITER booth at the COP29 in beautiful Baku. And this is the ITER booth, the home of the ITER organization, the large international collaboration for the development of fusion energy. But we have decided to share our booth with the fusion community and the private sector, the startups, and others that hopefully join the quest for fusion. And yes, so I will now hand over to our Deputy Director General, Louis Delong, who will run this panel on a very interesting topic, artificial intelligence and fusion development. We are talking about a potential symbiosis, and I think this could be super interesting for our future. Thank you. And sorry to say, the host of this panel today is our partner Clean Air Task Force, so it's a big collaboration. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Sabina, for the introduction. And yes, I'm really very happy to be here to share with you the panel about AI in fusion. And really welcome to this exciting discussions about the fusion energy and the transformative role of new tools like artificial intelligence and high performance computing. And fusion energy is being part of the conversations at the World Leaders Climate Action Summit since recent years. At the last COP edition in Dubai, the U.S. Special President Envoy for Climate, Mr. John Kerry, launched an international engagement plan to boost fusion energy, highlighting its potential as a vital tool in the fight against climate change. Fusion represents a vibrant ecosystem, while cutting-edge advancements in high technology are paving the way for a new, clean, and reliable source of energy. Rapid advancements in enabling technologies are driving this process. Notably, developments in artificial intelligence and high-performance cloud computing are providing resources that were unimaginable just a few years ago. In this panel, experts will dig into a symbiotic relationship between AI, high-performance computing, and fusion, exploring the broader implication for the tech industry and the energy transition. By saying that, I would like to ask the panel to introduce themselves. May I ask to Eric to start, please?
Okay, so thank you for the introduction and thank you for the invitation to this panel to CEILA. I am Eric Fernandez, the General Manager of INEUSTAR, which is the Spanish Science Industry Association. It's an association formed by companies working in what we call the supply chain. So our companies working in order to develop systems, components for big science facilities.
Thank you very much. My name is Lucio Milanese, co-founder and COO of Proxima Fusion. My background is in physics and nuclear engineering. I did my undergrad in Imperial College London, my PhD at MIT, and then spent also some time doing research in China.
Hi, my name is Jake Oster. I'm a director for public policy at Amazon Web Services, overseeing our energy, environment, and sustainability policy. If it's not obvious from my title, I am the least expert person on fusion on this panel, but looking forward to the discussion.
Lady and gentlemen, you really have to hold the mic close. Bring on.
Okay, I'm Sheila Gonzalez. I'm the director of the fusion program at Clean Air Task Force.
Thank you very much for your introduction. And so I'm going to run the panel with questions and answers with our panelists. And first, I would like to ask a question to all the panelists with same question, and from your own experience and your perspective, to make the answer. The question is that why do we need to invest effort in developing fusion? Why is it becoming relevant now? And what is the role of high-performance computing and artificial intelligence in the development of fusion? Please.
Should I start? Okay, being brief, and I'm sure my colleagues will complement. Why fusion now? There are two elements on that, or two main elements on that. The first thing is the demand of energy by society. It's expected that the demand of energy will increase by 3 by 2050. So we do need new source of energy. On the other hand, these new source of energies need to be net zero. We cannot afford to have a net source of energy producing CO2. In that context, fusion is a clear option. This is one of the reasons, the need. And the second reason is the opportunity. Now fusion can be developed much faster because we have new tools. We have enabling technologies. And one of these new tools is artificial intelligence and high-performance computer. It's not the only one, but it's something that can be used to speed up the whole process. So this is why now and why the role of artificial intelligence and high-performance computing is becoming so relevant in many industries, but in particular for fusion.
I don't know that I have a terribly different answer. I think very similar to what you said. Look, we're in a world in which increased electricity consumption is the reality. It's the prediction of the IEA and prediction of many governments around the world that we're seeing increased electricity consumption. The increase in electricity demand is due to a variety of things. Digitalization is certainly one of them, as well as electrification of transportation, electrification of buildings. I think the recent IEA report also points to higher demand for cooling technologies. So we're seeing increased electricity demand around the world. And as we see increased electricity demand, we need more sources of carbon-free generation. And we need sources of carbon-free generation that can meet the needs of the system, as well as supplement the increased generation of wind and solar, which of course have intermittent properties. And so that's why any new source of carbon-free energy generation is very interesting. And fusion, of course, is one of them. And so having this conversation now as we look to the future of that increased demand is going to be very important. To echo also what you said, the emergence of AI, machine learning, digital tools can continue to help the fusion industry grow and scale and learn. I don't think this is actually new. I think that, at Amazon, we've been using AI and machine learning in our business for decades, but we're excited to see lots of different industries put AI technologies to use, including, of course, the fusion industry. And so we've been working with fusion startups in a variety of different ways to put AI to use, and seeing already, great opportunities for those companies to be able to move faster, to accelerate their research, as well as to take learnings and deploy them out to the broader fusion community, and make those learnings useful for others who are trying to experiment and grow and accelerate this technology.
Thank you. Well, at a very fundamental level, I think fusion solves one key aspect of the future of energy, which is having a base load source of energy, which is clean and inherently safe, and has potential to have broad societal acceptance. This is a piece of the energy puzzle that globally we don't have, and fusion can and will provide over the next decade. Focusing maybe a little bit more on the second part of the question, which was what can HPC and AI do with fusion? For fusion, so the answer is a lot, fundamentally because fusion is a very hardware intense industry. Building fusion systems is very expensive, but the more we can model them in silico, the more we can understand the behavior of systems, of subsystems, from the plasma to the different engineering components, the more we can iterate fast without spending millions, if not billions, on hardware development. And so with HPC and AI, you can really leapfrog generations of hardware iteration and save a lot of money and end up with a better product. And even like in a span of, my relatively short career in fusion, about 10 years, I've seen, like, from starting my PhD in 2016 to today, what we can do on simulation, the size of the simulation growing very significantly, the sophistication of the computational tools. And now, for example, we can say that to a large degree, we can predict by computational tools and model turbulence in plasmas in different devices. This is something that was not possible 10, 15 years ago. And as scientists and engineers design and build next generation machines, this is an incredible advantage to do things better.
Okay, I think the majority of the ideas I had have been already mentioned. But I think it's clear at the moment. So we need a new source of energy. We need to have a clean, safe, and democratic source of energy. And I think fusion has all these ingredients. So it's very important, the investment in fusion, and also because the moment is changing. We have new stakeholders like the startups that are entering this world and are helping to speed up, to boost this situation. So that's important. We need to invest in fusion, and all the technologies we could use in order to speed up this process will be useful. So all of them, and I think in this situation, high power computing and artificial intelligence are key elements, because as we mentioned, we are dealing with really complex facilities with thousands of different elements that need to be working in nanosecond coordination. And also we are dealing with really complex physical processes. So any resource that could help us in order to understand how everything is going, how to simulate what is going to happen when we have a specific situation in one moment, will help us in order to have safer facilities and or to be faster in the operation of the facilities and the construction of them.
Thank you all very much, and for sharing your perspective on how fusion is important, and how the new technologies like AI and high performance computing would help to speed up this process. And then I know that Clean Air Task Force is releasing a report on AI for fusion. And as director of the fusion program, Sila, would you please tell us what's the report is about, and why it is relevant now?
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing that I would like to say about the report is that it's already available online to download it at the website of Clean Air Task Force. So I invite everyone, go to the website and download it and take a look and go through, and you will discover the overview and all the cases and so. So what can we find in that report? It's not a report only on AI, it's a report on the state of the art of fusion, going deeper in enabling technologies, showing why fusion is becoming real. It's not 30 years away any longer, and the reason is that we have a number of tools that we didn't have before. One of these tools is AI and high-performing computer. In that aspect, in that report, we are making a really deep study and comprehensive overview of all the possibilities of these new tools. It's a very unique study because it has 16 case studies of different companies addressing different issues related to the operation and construction of a fusion machine. So you have really a wonderful overview of all the possibilities, not only possibilities, real applications of these new tools into fusion. I invite everyone to go and to see, and I have to say that this idea was something that we start to contemplate at the beginning of the year at Clean Air Task Force to show why fusion is becoming real. Many people don't know. They think it's a hype, and the hype will end up. But no, it's not a hype. There are reasons for that. And one of the main reasons is these new achievements, scientific achievement, technical achievement, and the availability of these new tools of enabling technologies and the role for AI. So a little bit by chance, we contact with some Amazon website service people. We explained the idea. They were enthusiastic, and I would like to highlight and appreciate that they give us full support and full freedom to make that report possible. So it was a great experience, and I think it will be really helpful not only for the fusion community, but also for investors, people who want to know about fusion and they don't know fusion, policymakers, an expert on AI and high-performance computing that they had never heard about fusion, and they may find fusion a great field to work on it. So that is the whole aspiration, which are a few of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Sela. And I know that Amazon Web Service is, supported the report. So I would like to ask Jake. First of all, could you explain what is artificial intelligence and the role high-performance cloud computing plays in how it is being used? How AWS leveraging AI to accelerate the development of fusion energy? And also, can you share examples of breakthroughs or advancement make possible the AWS AI solutions, please?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for the kind words. We were pleased to participate and support the report. We thought the work was incredibly important, and we're always interested in ways that we can be supporting new industries and new technologies in leveraging AI and leveraging high performance computing to help accelerate work, research that's being done, particularly in areas like fusion, where it very closely matches what we are trying to do as a company towards our own sustainability commitments, which is for us to be net zero carbon by 2040. In response to your question, maybe it makes sense to take you through a couple of the examples from the report. You asked for sort of specifics in what the report finds where AI can be a helpful tool for accelerating fusion. One of the things you'll find in the report is that material selection can be helpful, can be helped by AI. So, as you all know, inside commercial fusion machines, the components are subjected to a very harsh environment. And the reality is that the fusion community lacks a comprehensive database on how the materials within those machines behave under those stresses. So today, we can use AI techniques to basically be able to have predictive information about how materials are going to react with inside fusion machines. We also looked at high temperature superconductors and manufacturing those HDS machines to be able to scale up to meet the requirements of the commercial fusion industry. So we're now able to use AI techniques and apply them to the manufacturing of HDS and enhance anomaly detection, which can help accelerate the production of HDS. We've also found in the report that AI is increasingly being used to enhance the accuracy and power of laser drivers in inertial fusion energy challenges, to meet inertial fusion energy challenges. And then to optimize target design, which can accelerate the deployment of inertial fusion energy onto the grid. We also found in the report that commercially viable DT fusion systems have to generate more tritium than they consume, which of course you all know. And studies have shown that AI and high performance computing can help optimize tritium blanket design to maximize the breeding ratio. Additionally, high performance computing generated tritium transport models can enhance tritium extraction and recycling processes, which can help ensure a continuous fuel supply for fusion machines. And lastly, one more point around advanced diagnostics and control. So overcoming the challenges controlling magnetic fusion plasma is going to require effective diagnostics to monitor the plasma and then control systems to help manage the plasma. And AI-driven diagnostics are already demonstrating that increased effectiveness in measuring plasma behavior. And the report finds that AI models are increasingly capable of predictive modeling plasma disruptions, which allows them to be prevented proactively. So that's a set of the examples that you see as you kind of page through the report that was released today that we were really happy to partner with Clean Air Task Force in helping to support, where AI is having real tangible impacts on helping to both do research for specific fusion technologies and then, of course, to support the overall fusion community.
Thank you very much. It seems a lot of activities are happening for AI supporting the fusion development. And I know that Proxima is one of the case studies featured in the report. And may I ask Lucio what Proxima is doing and how the AI tools supported your design activities?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Proxima, we are designing and aim to build the next generation of fusion devices based on the stellarator technology. It's been pioneered in Germany and a few other countries over the last couple of decades. Here you can see actually an example of a complete design of a stellarator fusion power plant, at least the core of it. From the center outwards, you have the plasma, the vacuum vessel, the blanket, the shielding, and then the magnets, which are of course very important components of the device, and then the coil and intercoil support structures. As you can see, this is not a straightforward design, and the complexity produces a lot of advantages in terms of having the machine being able to run in steady state and be intrinsically stable, uniquely among fusion devices. But this comes at the cost of complex shapes. And as you can also imagine, there are like very large amounts of trade-offs that you can do between the physics, the engineering, the design of the different components, how thick the blanket is in one region, how thick the shielding is in another region. And so what we're using is advanced computing and AI to basically optimize this design, starting from the core, the physics, all the way to the coil, intercoil support structures, and the outer structure. So we're using both off-the-shelf and in-house developed models. And ideally, we're basically working towards, and we've made significant progress towards a scenario where we can press a button and generate hundreds of thousands of different configurations from the physics to the engineering, and then diagnose them and rank them. And then the configurations and the design that are actually generated by more classical tools can actually be fed to AI models. And we already had AI models generate configurations and designs that are better than anything else that was produced via the classical route. So here is really a concrete example where a fusion device is being enhanced in its design by AI.
Looks really quite difficult to design. Yes, great. So the AI helps a lot, I believe. And my next question is to Eric. I know you have brought the small AI companies into large fusion programs like IFMIF DONES. And I'd like to ask you, what do you think that the major areas you should look at for the AI companies to jump into the fusion development activities?
Okay, so thank you very much. You know, Spain is a quite successful country in gaining contracts with ITER and with many other fusion projects. I need to speak louder, sorry. Okay, so Spain is quite successful. So, and many of the companies that have been working for ITER are small and medium companies, and all of them have the same situation, okay? Because we wanted having companies working for a complex project, but they are not working in fusion. They are working in aerospace sector, they are working in railway, they are working in different sectors, and we wanted to combine them to look to ITER and to many other projects just to use this technology, because this is a complex project and we need to use not the technology of the companies working for fusion, we need the technologies that are available to make this a reality. So all the companies have the same afraid that I don't understand the project. That's when we start talking with a medium company or a small company about participating in an ITER tender, they say, ITER, fusion, I don't understand how nuclear physics works. And one of the thing we need to combine them is to talk about they do not need to understand the physics behind. They need to understand properly the problem they need to solve. And that's our main work with the small and medium companies. We need to explain things, avoiding talking about plasma physics, avoid talking about neutrons in if-dons, about talking about deuterons or whatever. So we need to explain science and technology in a really plain language to the companies. And I think this is an exercise that we all need to do. We don't need to explain companies how ITER works. We need to explain companies what do we need from them in order to be useful for ITER. So that's the key element.
I have an additional question. Is that you have been joining the IFMIF donors program, and how the AI tools really speed up the design of that?
Okay, we are now, in the phase of starting the construction of IFMIF dons in Spain. So the first buildings are under construction, and also the design of many components is in a really advanced phase. But we have several projects regarding artificial intelligence running in different phases of IFMIF dons. So we are using artificial intelligence for the developing of materials or selecting some materials. We are using artificial intelligence also for developing some specific components. So high-performance computing and artificial intelligence has been used, for example, in the design of some superconductive components. And this is speeding really the process. So we are gaining an order of magnitude of time in the design of some components we expect. But we are now working in a big project trying to reduce as much as possible the future time to put in operation this facility. So ITER, IFMIF dones are really complex facilities, so your accelerator will be complex. So it's not only to manufacture all the components, design everything. So you have a long period since you push the start button until you are in an optimal point of operation. Okay, so there are many thousands of different variables that you need to manage, that you need to look at, and an operator is not able to look all of them in a general overview. But artificial intelligence, yes. So we are working in a tool in order to speed up the time since the start of the operation until the optimal operation point.
By means of simulation type of operation?
Yes, simulation and some tools to the operators that manage the different variables of the accelerator, in this case for IFMIF dones. And in the case of not optimal working of the components, they give some advices to the operator.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And to Jake, I would like to ask a broader question. Is that would you describe the economic and the policy conditions that could impact the market competitiveness of non-fossil clean firm technologies?
It's a broad question with many different answers. I think, look, when we're thinking about the policies that encourage sort of firm, clean power, I think there's a suite of those policies, and I think I've been involved in a lot of conversations this week that have focused on the nature of electricity market design and how market design is going to encourage those technologies onto the grids and value the assets that they provide to the system accordingly. And I think those are very complex policy decisions around how you design electricity markets. But that always plays a key role in encouraging baseload power to exist on the market, but also to be remunerated properly, and then to think about the carbon-free attributes of that. Of course, at Amazon, we've been the largest corporate buyer of renewable energy for the last 4 years. And we've been a major buyer of carbon-free energy, and have recently gone kind of beyond what we've been traditionally procuring with wind and solar to now have signed our first deals for advanced nuclear in the form of SMRs, and have signed made an investment in a company called X Energy, which is an SMR company in the United States, where we've both made the investment in the company as well as announced sort of first projects that we'll be doing with them to deploy those capabilities. So I think, one lever that's out there for encouraging these technologies into place is, of course, electricity markets and policy. Another lever that's out there is also, the private sector and companies who are going out and signing deals, power purchase agreements primarily, with electricity producers, with generators, with sort of forms of carbon-free energy to help those types of technologies scale and make it into the market, and particularly emerging technologies. We Amazon also has something we call the Climate Pledge Fund, which is making investments in early stage decarbonization technologies that help us on our own path to decarbonization, as well as helping other companies along their path to decarbonization. And through that, we've made investments in companies that are well known, like Rivian, where we've been able to go out and both, again, invest in the company, but then also make an announcement that we're going to purchase 100,000 electric vans from that company to help enable it to scale, to also green hydrogen or building materials or energy efficient motors. So we've seen that be an important catalyst for driving these technologies into place, alongside the sort of necessary policy levers that we need to see in place. And I think that, the last piece of it, of course, when you're thinking about policy is, while it sounds incredibly simple, a stable regulatory environment and policy stability is oftentimes the most important thing, particularly for new technologies to be able to make it in place. You need policy support and policy enthusiasm, but you also need policy stability. Back and forth sort of sways around different targets or different priorities can make it difficult for technologies to be able to scale and be able to get traction within a policy community to move forward. So you need that continuous policy support and stability to help technologies like fusion be able to move forward.
Thank you very much. So, looking into the future, I'd like to ask you or the panel that what are the key advantages of fusion energy in terms of decarbonization? And also, how would the adoption of fusion energy can align with the technology companies' broader sustainability and decarbonization? What is the potential timeline for integrating fusion energy into the data centers?
Well, I will try to answer a few of these aspects, and the last one is a little bit difficult, I have to say. But talking about decarbonization, and this is a part that is highlighted in the report, and I think it's really a beautiful part of the report, this symbiotic relationship between artificial intelligence and fusion, because now we see how artificial intelligence is helping fusion. It has the potential to really speed up fusion. And fusion, at the end of the day, which is going to power all these new tools and new applications that will produce an increase of the demand. So these new tools are now helping fusion, and fusion will power the establishment and the growth of this new technology. So it's something that the industry is now, and Jake mentioned very clearly how you are very keen on making deals and making purchasing agreements with net zero source of new source of energies, because you need that kind of energy, and fusion is one of them. In addition to that, and it's something I think Lucio mentioned, fusion is a firm, intrinsically safe source of energy. But also the aspect that nowadays, unfortunately, is becoming more important is provide energy security. And this is something quite unique in the case of fusion. You are able to have a supply of energy that depends mostly on you. And that provides sort of different paradigm for many countries. Also, the idea of having these policies is very important. you have to have the adequate policies that allows, in that case, fusion, to really become a reality. And this is something that the fusion community should be pushing for, and being able to explain what is fusion, what is needed for fusion, and what are the adequate policies to make it grow. And when all these things are coming together, we will be able to power data centers, hopefully sooner than later.
I don't think I have too much to add to Heisa's great summary. I think maybe something that I could add is a bit on the long-term perspective. So part of the question was, when is fusion going to be deployed? We're going to see first-of-a-kind fusion power plants in the 2030s. The technology will still mature and exponentially grow in the 40s and 50s. And I think that globally we need to consider the fact that it is true that climate change is an urgent issue and decarbonization is an urgent issue, and we need to do as much as we can today to fix it. On the other hand, I really don't think that globally will be, unfortunately we are right now on a path to net zero in 2050. And in fact, like very large emitters globally are still increasing their emission and building tens of power plants, of coal power plants, on gas-fired power plants, etc. So we really need to take a medium to long-term perspective and invest in technology that can actually, once deployed and scaled up, solve the issue in a way that is democratic, that does not create dependencies on raw material, whether that's oil or uranium. You know, fusion actually requires very little in terms of material that are not abundant. And it is self-sufficient. It is very important, I think, in my opinion, also that more advanced countries technologically are happy to share the technology once it's developed, and it can be exported and it can be democratically distributed to also countries that have lower technology levels, because eventually, you know, we need to create a world of energy abundance for everybody, not just for the rich world. And so it's going to be a long journey, not as long as what most people think, because the industry is really maturing and there are innovation on the hardware, on the organizational side, on the software side that really will converge. And I think 5 years from now, we'll be talking a bit about fusion like we talk about AI today.
Okay. So I think all the ideas, we are in the same alignment, so it's easy. I only want to add that we don't know when the fusion will be in the grid, but we know that the facilities will be complex facilities, so even in the future, and they will need a supply chain technological skillet. So now is the moment for the supply chain to start betting for this sector and start working with ITER, working with MIFDONS, working with Proxima or many other startups now in the field in order to be prepared for the moment when the fusion plants will be working operatively in all the countries in the world.
I think, you know, from Amazon's perspective, our overall goal is to decarbonize the power system. So I think there, you know, the question focusing in on you know, just data centers or just certain aspects of our load, it's certainly we think a lot about how we connect those facilities to the grid and ensure that they have the capacity they need to operate, and then we zoom out and think, how do we decarbonize the power system that's powering our business, but also the power system around the globe. And I think there's been some comments from others on the panel about the importance of moving quickly to address the climate crisis and being able to address system emissions from the power sector. And we very much agree that we need to be investing in the technologies that are going to help do that, so that as businesses like Amazon, but businesses of all shapes and sizes and use cases of all shapes and sizes, for us, we use electricity across many aspects of our business, not just the cloud computing part of our business. So we're thinking about how do we decarbonize the power system so that everything from when we connect a data center to when we build a new EV charging hub to when we're building a new electrified building to when we're starting up new fulfillment centers, that electricity can be carbon free because it's coming from a power system that's carbon free, because we've deployed the technologies that scale that help us to get there. So that's very much how we think about it. And so when we look at this, we're looking at what are the suite of technologies that are going to help us get there. What's going to help complement, of course, the wind and solar that have scaled so successfully, to be able to help decarbonize that overall system.
Thank you very much. And seems that all of a sudden AI fast development started to support the development of fusion energy. And I believe one day the fusion will return you back with enough energy to feed your system. Thank you very much. I have finished my questions and I would like to ask the floor. Yes, please, Sabine.
I have a question to Jake. What actually triggered the interest in fusion? When did this happen? When did fusion appear on your radar?
I think for Amazon, as I mentioned before, we're looking at a suite of carbon-free electricity technologies. I think in this instance, it's we're looking at the relationship with the fusion community much more through the lens of how can technology be an enabler to help fusion scale, to help fusion accelerate. A number of the examples I talked about from the report are interesting to us. We've also, we have a number of partnerships with fusion startups where we've been able to help them move forward and accelerate their own research. So, I think the idea for us is, we are interested in helping lots of different industries leverage AI, leverage machine learning, leverage digitalization to help those industries scale, to move forward, to take advantage of the benefits and power of cloud computing. And our relationship with the fusion industry is no different than those other relationships. And so we are interested in how AI and those technologies can help fusion move forward.
Was there a trigger moment, or when your interest in
I couldn't pinpoint a date where we said we should work with the fusion industry, the fusion sector. I think, like I said, it's across our business. We are looking to work with every sector that wants to work with us and every sector that sees benefits and opportunities in being able to harness high performance computing, cloud computing, digitalization, AI, and machine learning to be able to accelerate. As we are out there talking to different industries and different sectors, across the startups, across large enterprises, across public sector government agencies, fusion is one of those that we are talking to, where we're saying, great, we can work together with you. We can leverage this technology to help you along your journey as you're looking to scale your technology. And so, this is part of lots and lots of different sectors we work with. I mean, if you look at AWS's customers, there's almost I don't know that you could find a single sector that we are not working with. We're working with healthcare, we're working with financial services, we're working with ministries of defense, we're working with intelligence agencies, we work with professional sports networks, we are working with the auto industry, we're working with the space sector, we are working with nearly every sector across the economy, if not every sector across the economy, to help them leverage these technologies. So this very much is within that framework as we think about how do we work with all of those sectors to help them leverage the benefits and the opportunities and the advancements of high performance computing.
Any other questions? Please. No.
So interesting to hear about how AI is advancing fusion. I'm also curious, this is very hard. Fusion is very hard. What do you see as the biggest challenges that we have yet to address with fusion?
I would say what I think is one of the biggest, there are a couple of biggest challenges now. And to me, the biggest challenge right now is to integrate. So fusion companies, startups, large experiments like ITER, you have to put pieces together and make it work. This is integration, basically. And this is, to me, the biggest challenge, to be able to build a machine in a pilot plant scale where you really integrated all the systems and make it work. You start to breed your tritium, if in the case of a DT machine, and everything is working in the way that you need to work. And honestly, in that, and I think Lucio mentioned, all these in silico simulations and trade-offs that you need to make will help a lot to optimize this, to optimize and guide all this integration process. And we have the sample of ITER, which is a real challenge, as it's not easy.
So I think from a purely technical perspective, I would say is materials. So fusion, we know how to make it, and eventually we'll build machines that are powerful enough to make net energy. There is no doubt about that. But there is still some work to be done in terms of finding the right configuration so that you can you can make fusion economical by not having to replace the first wall too often, by making materials that can survive the very harsh conditions. And this is also an area where advanced computation is already contributing. But I also want to give a non-technical answer, because maybe even worse than the materials challenge, I think, is the financing and organizational challenge. So if we are real about making fusion happen, eventually there will have to be many billions of private and public capital that will go into the industry and have to be spent in an efficient manner in organizations that are, goal-oriented, rapid execution, really focused on delivering, and as lean as possible. And here I like to quote the former director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center at MIT, Dennis White, with whom I worked for a while when I was there. And he said that when it comes to magnetic confinement fusion, the two biggest innovation of the last 10 years are, and this was a couple of years ago, so it was before the AI frenzy, but like high temperature superconducting magnets and the rise of the private sector as an organizational force that can foster private investment and accelerate in the delivering. And obviously here we are in the ITER booth. We are all building on the shoulder. We are standing on the shoulders of giants at ITER and beyond. I mean, fusion has been fostered by the public sector over many decades. But we need to slowly consider shifting both on the side of financing and on the side of organization more and more to the private sector. And also really, there needs to be some work on creating tools that can provide financing in a way that stabilizes risk rewards. People have talked about creating fusion funds, creating fusion bonds that can spread across approaches, across companies, and also ways to articulate in a compelling fashion and create, social, economic and techno-economic analysis for the upside of a fusion company, right? If you really get to get this technology to work, your company will be, possibly a multi-trillion-dollar company. And so we need to really combine this in a rational narrative that can propel the sector forward.
Okay, so I will say something because I have the mic. So I think that there are many technological challenges, as materials and many other things we have commented. But now the entrance in this game of new actors as the private actors is a real challenge, because the knowledge in the past has been managed by the public research institutes worldwide, but under coordination. And now some of this knowledge is being generated by private companies. So the way this knowledge is really shared in order to boost the fusion development is not straightforward. So we need to find the ways to combine the private initiatives to share this knowledge, because they have generate this knowledge by their own. So we need to find the framework and the public-private partnerships where this knowledge can be easily shared. So I think now we have new players in the game, and we need to change the rules. So this is a real challenge also.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, please?
Thank you for your speech. And how can younger generation get involved in the development of fusion energy?
Who's answering that?
I can say something. It's something that we were discussing also yesterday because it's a recurring topic, workforce. Younger generation should be involved in fusion. Fusion needs younger generation. Fusion needs all the talents, and workforce is really needed. So I always encourage all young people, and not so young, to look at different aspects of fusion, because one of the aspects of fusion, for example, is financing. And if you like finance and you like fusion, you can have a way on that. If you like physics, if you like engineering, you can have a way, and you should have a way on that. So there are a number of range of topics related to fusion that are really talented people are really needed. So look at that, find your preference, and go through that, but link it to fusion. It's not only the traditional ways of engineering, physics, which are okay, and I highly support, I'm a physicist, but if you like finance, if you like regulation, if you like the law, there is a way on that, and this is very needed. So you have to open your eyes and open your mind and look at all these ranges and link it to fusion, because workforce is really needed and talent is really needed. So I don't know.
Okay, I like to quote Mao Zedong. I'm from China. Mao Zedong said that the world is yours, is also ours, but finally it's yours. Any other questions? Okay, so thank you very much, all the panelists, all the audience, and thank you. Appreciate your joining, the interactions, and also your sharing your experience and perspectives. And I look forward to more interactions in the fusion AI. And also I encourage you to download the report by the Clean Air Task Force and with the support from Amazon. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jesse Viola, and I'm a research associate at Realta Fusion. We are a startup company spun out of the University of Wisconsin, specifically focusing on a tandem magnetic mirror fusion device. In order to design our next step device, and eventually our first of a kind power plant, we're using Bayesian optimization with Gaussian process in order to optimize for plasma performance by fixing various engineering parameters.
Hi, I'm Kai, a scientist at Realta Fusion. We are using AI to improve fusion diagnostics. We developed a neural network model trained on synthetic data to separate background noise from plasma signal. This background subtraction enables us to reconstruct plasma profile with great accuracy. With this precision, we can actively control plasma instabilities, bringing us closer to stable, controlled fusion.
Future AI depends on an energy breakthrough, said OpenAI CEO Sam Altman earlier this year. Fusion energy could be just what we need to power the increased energy demands of the future, and AI could help us get there. Here are 3 key insights from the report.
1. High-performance computing and AI are accelerating fusion commercialization. Moving from the conceptual design phase all the way to the final blueprint of a fusion machine is a time-consuming process. But today, increased high-performance computing capabilities and AI models are making this iteration process faster. or simulation is a lot quicker than building a physical device at each stage of design iteration. What's more, surrogate models can reduce simulation runtimes by orders of magnitude.
2. High-performance computing and AI are enhancing fusion operations. AI models will also be used to optimize the way a fusion plant actually operates. For example, AI models are being used to predict disruptions in plasma rather than having to mitigate them as they occur. It's also helping with predictive maintenance, which will decrease plant downtime and maximize efficiency.
3. A symbiotic relationship between AI and fusion power is developing. As new data centers are built, in part to support the expansion of AI, it will increase global energy demand. Fusion's operational profile matches the consistent clean energy needs that data centers powering AI require. So, while AI and high-performance computing are supporting fusion developments today, it may be fusion that provides the energy for these tools tomorrow.